What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So if you didn't see my short from the other day when Justin Herbert signed his 5-year extension contract, yes, it was a 5-year, $262.5 million deal. Obviously, a lot of his comments after saying that he always wanted to be drafted by the Chargers and play for them, and so it's a dream come true and all this stuff. I just kind of wish and hoped he would have made it a longer deal as far as years wise. He probably could have gotten a little bit more money, but I'm sure his agents thought if he still outperforms this contract, and he can get even more after the next, I don't know what it is, 5 or something odd years. Because even with that extension, it kind of helped out with, like, I think the player option coming up to where it lowered it down to like 19 something million dollars compared to 30 plus something with that. So that kind of helped out a bit going into the future, at least next year or two. But either way, it's a nice get. He's obviously done great stuff while he's been in the NFL. He's, in his first 3 seasons, he's the NFL leader with 1,316 completions, 14,089 yards passing, 102 combined touchdowns, and 22 300-yard games. So hoping that, the name that you kept seeing him pass a lot of times was Dan Marino. Hopefully it's not, he doesn't have a career like that where you get all these stats and you don't win a championship. But either way, it could be very exciting and pretty cool. So they do have a nice team around him. Everybody looks good and healthy and copacetic. So we'll see how this goes. But yeah, training camp has started for both them and USC, and it's been exciting to see some of the footage coming out from both sides, and everybody's looking good, like I said, so far, but we'll have to wait and see. And House of Victory had a recent signing. I had like a past couple of days. I was going to make this video and it didn't, and then more news came out, so there might be another House of Victory signing or two later in this video, but this is actually the bigger one. The other day that happened, they were able to sign the #1 women's player coming out of high school who's going into her freshman year at USC this season, coming up in the fall, Juju Watkins, which I kind of was surprised about because I don't even think even Caleb Williams is part of the House of Victory, obviously, because he's already making almost $2 million, if not more. We'll talk about him getting another big-time NIL deal himself with an airline company. But yeah, to be able to sign her and have her committed to the House of Victory is a pretty big thing for them. So definitely very excited for both of their futures. And there was a weird post from Twitter that somebody put together, like the top 10 most hated storylines going into the 2023 college football season. And of course, I think number 1 was Caleb Williams. Around like number 3 was USC, just the team in general. And then I think number 5 or 6 was Lincoln Riley. So 3 of USC's people, or part of USC, made the top 10 according to their list. They must be a UCLA or Notre Dame fan or whatever. But either way, if they're hating you, that means you are on their mind and they're thinking about you. So you must be doing something right, in my opinion. So yeah, pretty interesting list right there. Yes, PFF did come out with a list of the top 10 toughest schedules with the certain teams, and then also top 10 lists of the easiest schedules. And somehow, in my opinion, USC is number 5 on the easiest schedule list. When, yeah, if you look at their first part, San Jose State, Nevada, Stanford, who's still having a down year, Colorado has all new coach, new transfers, and all that stuff. That first part of the half, even I think Arizona State they play. But then you get into that stretch after a couple of those bye weeks, you get like Notre Dame, Washington, Utah, UCLA eventually, Cal's thrown in there. All those teams, except for maybe Cal, are going to be ranked when you play them. So I don't know how that is going to be the 5th easiest schedule when a lot of those teams on the other side are from the SEC who had the easiest schedule, and they always said that they're playing in the toughest league. So I don't know how this PFF thing really works out at times. Like I said, it's a love-hate relationship because sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't, but I guess that's analytics for you. A couple of future 2025 players, a tight end and a defensive lineman, were either put USC in their top 8 or visited USC pretty recently before they started their fall camp. So I believe the tight end was Ethan Barber. He put USC in his top 8 for the class of 2025. So that's really cool. Definitely looking forward to seeing where he's going to end up. And the defensive lineman, Adam Shovlin, I think I'm saying that correct. He recently visited USC as well unofficially and was able to get on campus, talk with the coaches and Lincoln Riley as well. So I don't know 100% if he's officially committed or not, but he's definitely looking like he's looking for that or is in the process of, once committed, then visiting the school, seeing if he'll like it and pursuing that school as well. So looking forward to the future recruiting of USC as always. So one of these Twitter posts again had me scratching my head, where it's like Duke was number 4, which is kind of acceptable, I guess, but they are returning a lot of great players, and they have a lot of great players coming in when it comes to the highly talented freshmen. So I guess 4 is okay. I would have preferred them higher, but to have Kentucky at number 1 and North Carolina at number 5, I do not believe both of those teams are top 5 teams or are going to end up in the final 5 or whatever rankings, in my opinion. So that's a bit of a head scratcher in the end. But either way, I guess we'll have to get used to the hate of Duke. And that's when Duke usually performs a lot better, where they're placed correctly in the tournament, make a nice run, and eventually end up in the Final Four and hopefully winning as well. So hoping for that. Then the other day, the Lakers did let go of one of their two-way players, Cole Swider, who was a player from Syracuse last year, who was a really pretty good three-point shooter, but just never got any playing time with the main team, especially during the playoffs. But yeah, he was kind of okay during the summer league, but didn't really explode. He made a lot of his shots from 3, but I guess they didn't like what he did, so they waived him. But they were able to sign one of the players they brought in for a 10-day contract, or Exhibit 10, whatever it is called, Alex Fudge, the forward from Florida, and they put him on that two-way deal. So I guess they liked more of his athleticism and playmaking ability, a 3-and-D style. He's a lot taller as well, so he's your now new third two-way player along with Hodge and Castleton. So we'll see which one of those guys ends up getting a real contract with the team or not. But yeah, pretty interesting move by the Lakers so far. Chargers recently put out that wide receiver Jalen Guyton, defensive lineman Otito Ogbonnia, and Austin Johnson are all being put on the PUP list, the players unable to perform list. And you're kind of put on there because they don't really believe you have a chance to start right away, or you're not even fully practicing 100%. So I'm kind of wondering why some of these guys are still on there when their injuries were so long ago, and you would think they would have been healed up by now, or at least a timeline. But I don't know if there were setbacks or anything like that, but it looks like a lot of these guys are in question, and of course it's a UCLA player. But Guyton, you can kind of believe because he did tear his ACL like a couple weeks into the year. The other guys did kind of as well, but they didn't really have ACLs, if I do remember correctly. So I don't know, it's pretty interesting, pretty weird, but I guess we'll have to deal with that. And then one of the top 4-star offensive tackles that USC got in the month of June, Manasse Itete, hopefully I'm saying that correct. He recently decommitted from USC the other day, which was kind of surprising because you're hoping for USC to get commitments for their future classes, but then a decommitment all of a sudden. So I kind of try to look at it as more of a positive, that maybe they're looking at another player who is now more interested in their team, who is a local guy, a better player from modern day, and Brandon Baker, or maybe even a DeAndre Carter, because both those guys haven't officially committed from what I remember. I don't remember an announcement coming from either of those guys, but obviously Carter is the interior offensive lineman, which is where Itete was supposed to be playing. And you just never know. So these guys are two talented dudes from modern day and out in Orange County, and if USC was able to at least get one of them, then I'm copacetic with that. So we'll see. But yes, a lot of stuff developing with this 2024 class for USC. And yes, as I mentioned earlier, Caleb Williams did sign an NIL deal with United Airlines to become like pretty much their voice. And I'm pretty sure he might do a commercial, he might not. He might just be, when you're doing it in a flight, there might be a commercial there or something. But I think he's helping either certain family members come down for the players on the team to be able to get flights, direct flights, and all that stuff. So either way, it's pushing his NIL evaluation up over $2.5 million, which is pretty freaking crazy. But like I said, if you come to USC and you're the main guy, I mean, this is probably what Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush would have gotten as well, this type of publicity. But they weren't able to back then, and yeah, there's the whole thing of Reggie Bush, but that wasn't even as close to the amount of money as what these guys are getting now. So either way, that should have just been a slap on the wrist, but had to deal with it, I guess. And then House of Victory did make 2 more signings after the Juju Watkins one. They signed the defensive lineman Solomon Byrd, transferred from Wyoming last year, and also the defensive back Jacoby Covington going into his second year with the team. So yes, a lot of good pickups for them as well. House of Victory, and yeah, like I said, more football players. You get 1 women's basketball player and then 2 football players. So it's kind of the way the numbers are going right now. So the NFL is doing their usual top 100 players, and I forget if it's going into the season or from last season. I guess it's usually from last season, but yeah, even Eric Kendricks got on there from playing with Minnesota at number 93. Just had to mention him just because he's now with the Chargers, and it shows that they do have a top 93 overall player on their team according to the other NFL players, so that's really good as well. And then I want to get this correct. An ex-USC guy, the safety Talanoa Hufanga, who was playing with the 49ers, is at number 78, which is cool. Joey Bosa got number 70 from the Chargers, and then ex-USC wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown with the Lions is at number 67. So yeah, as we're getting through this, some more USC and Chargers guys coming up. I'm sure Keenan Allen is going to be up there. I doubt Mike Williams, but you never know. But yeah, it's kind of always weird how a lot of these guys are mixed and matched. And if a rookie had a good year, he's in the top 70, and then all of a sudden it's a sophomore slump and he's out of the top 100. So yeah, it's pretty interesting how you kind of go back and relive how good or who was good and who wasn't good during the season of last year. But yeah, hopefully some more guys from the Chargers. Obviously, Derwin James and Justin Herbert's coming up, I'm sure. But we'll see if any more USC guys get up on the top 100 as well. And according to Lakers owner Jeannie Buss, apparently she has come out and said that the Lakers are going to retire LeBron James's jersey. Which one? I don't know, because he's worn both number 23 and 6. I believe he wore number 23 when they won the title in 2020. I always forget because 2020 seems like it's a decade ago. But yeah, she did say that they are going to do it around the time that he's inducted into the Hall of Fame. So luckily it's not going to be this whole public thing of doing it while he's still playing. And I don't know, he could be the first player to get his jersey retired while he's playing. I don't know if there was somebody else in another sport, but yeah, it's pretty crazy if that were to happen. But at least it's going to be at a more appropriate time than to give him some more unwarranted publicity, I guess. So yeah, either way, it's a good thing, but which number or which statue they might put up, I guess we'll have to wait and see in the future. An incoming freshman for Duke basketball from Corona Centennial, Jared McCain, recently signed an NIL deal with the Panini Trading Card Company, so I'm sure he's going to get his exclusive card and all this stuff with that collecting card company, so that'll be pretty cool for him. It's a nice deal for him as an incoming freshman. He's already had a couple other deals as well, but yeah, he's doing pretty good. I guess he's a pretty popular TikTok person, does a lot of weird dances and stuff, so I guess he's already building up his stuff. And then the John Shire, the Duke head coach, did recently name an assistant from Oklahoma, I want to get his name correct, Emmanuel Dildy, as a new Duke assistant coach. So he's going to be on the bench, help out, obviously with the departure of Emil Jefferson, finally filled up that extra spot at the end for the assistant coaches as well. So looking forward to see what he could bring to the team and hopefully bringing us the championship as well. Past couple days since training camp has been starting for the Chargers, they did sign a couple of new players to their roster. I didn't see that they let anybody go, but I guess they're still under that 90-something roster total, whatever it is. They did sign a wide receiver, Milton Wright, who was coming out of Purdue. He was okay. He's a bit more of a bigger bodied receiver, not as quick, but he can still do a lot of good stuff once he's open and all that good stuff. And then a linebacker, Blake Lynch, who played linebacker and sometimes running back. He was like a nice Swiss Army knife when he was in college at Baylor, but definitely, I believe, has been playing linebacker more once he got into the NFL with Minnesota. So I'm pretty sure that's a buddy that Eric Kendricks has had the past couple years. That's why he was able to bring him in. Maybe make the team, maybe not, but we'll see. Definitely looking forward to maybe these guys joining the team or not in the future. And yes, I guess not really surprising, but once these Congress hearings or whatever that stuff was this past week about UFOs and what the government is really hiding and still hasn't really released anything, of course, Tom DeLonge's name and his company To the Stars came up because I guess of some person that is working for him with that company, and still kind of giving him credit for all this stuff, and or at least people online are giving him credit for that. He was correct and has always talked about UFOs and aliens. I'm sure other people will say this is more of a ploy to distract people from other stuff, but that's just the world we live in. That's how everything is. There's always something else in this world. But either way, it's still pretty fun and kind of interesting and funny that Tom DeLonge's name is still getting mentioned in Congress and all that stuff for just a dumb guy from San Diego in a punk rock band. So yeah, either way, should be interesting to see what else we get. So yeah, thanks for watching, people. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Fight on.